This is light work. Come on, spill the tea. Yeah. Woo. This is light work. Come on, spill the tea. Yeah.
What is up, guys? We got the 992 back. It's sitting pretty. I'm whispering because it's like 11:30 at night. Everyone's asleep. So I make these videos so you guys don't make the same mistakes I do. So I'm a little behind on the videos. I'm probably about a week and a half behind. So I'm trying to post more a day so I can get caught back up to real time. But in my most recent video, I sold all my SCHD. Well, since then, I'm back in SCHD. I know you guys probably think I'm nuts. I'm real impulsive, and like I said, I make a lot of dumb, fast decisions. But I have a little method to my madness, if it makes any sense. But no, so I switched. You guys are probably like, dude, the stock market's not a pair of shoes. But no, so I want to throw up on the screen my stock account performance across all my accounts. Because I know you guys probably think I'm nuts and I'm losing money and doing all this crazy stuff. But I really only make these decisions when I'm like really in the green. Usually I make these decisions thinking they're long term. And then the second I get out of SCHD, I go back to it. I think I've realized over time now, this is like probably the third time I've done this. I think I just psychologically need to hold SCHD. So if you hear my throat sounds funny, I'm sick. So I'm trying to do all my normal stuff, but I got a cold. But I'm trying to I don't know what I'm saying. Oh, what I'm saying is I like SCHD because I like the psychology of watching the dividend income increase. I also like feeling like it's not overpriced. Like its valuations are decent. I do think a lot of these stocks are going to outperform, but psychologically, I just like the dividend income. I like investing in SCHD. So I'm back in SCHD. But what I did was to mitigate my little FOMO of feeling like I'm going to miss out on the AI and all the stuff and Google, rather than having a bunch of stocks, like single stocks like Google. I even sold my quantum and my little side bets. I'm just going to keep it super simple. I feel like that's the strength for me, is simplicity. But instead, what I did was I just paired SCHD with SCHG because they don't overlap at all. They're basically made to be opposites. So I added a little S. Dude, I'm so glad to have this thing back. You guys got to admit those wheels look good on the black, don't they? What do you guys think? Be honest. If you don't like it, I get it. Some people don't. But I think that's the bright silver. Looks good. I think it's called Satin Polish Clear. AL13s. We're back in action, baby. Daily driven Porsche. Back in action. But we still have the crack in the windshield. But I'm going to throw up on the screen some of my stock account performance over like year to date. Because I don't show you guys because I think it's like kind of irresponsible for me to show you all the single stocks I get in and out of and do all. I guess I'm kind of trading a little bit, even though I'm not a trader. But it's really just ADD. I don't think I'm going to trade, but the ADD's got me being a trader. Sometimes it ends up working out. I made this video real quick because I filmed some videos when I was like driving and stuff, and I never mentioned that I got back in SCHD. So I wanted to make this video so you guys aren't all confused when I'm like, I'm stacking SCHD, and you're like, what is he talking about? But I appreciate you guys watching the channel. You're going to see this thing back on the streets real soon. Got another DDP shirt in the mail. Some diesel, then we're headed to the Tampa airport. We're in the Tampa airport. Look how close we are with the lifted truck. Hopefully we can fit in this thing. Dude, this truck should not be in this parking garage. It's a little too tight. I'm still stacking my SCHD. This is not financial advice, and I'm not telling anybody what's best for them or anything like that. I'm just talking about my personal goals. Everybody's different. If you're young, you should probably just buy VOO or
you know, whatever it is you're into, QQQ. We got to get out of here without cutting the top off of this truck. But for me personally, I always found that I liked income producing assets. I just like them. Real estate, dividend stocks, and I love real estate. It's just that right now the return that I find I can get just doesn't make sense, because after like 1 year of SCHD and the dividend yield growing, it's basically at the return for the rentals in my area, for the rental rates and the price of the houses. So right now I'm just stacking SCHD. I like it. It only has a 3.89% yield, but it grows on average about 11% a year. That's really where the power is. But I personally just like cash flowing assets because I've always had a rule. You don't buy anything or do anything in your life unless you're using the drip from the assets, or the assets made the money out of thin air, and then you can use that money. But you can't use the original principal that you invested. That's been my goal. I mean, my rule. Uh-oh, we got someone hopping out. Because I forget to say that sometimes on the channel. But that's what I've always done. For example, I didn't buy the first car until the M5 could be paid for by the rental property. That's when I got it. I didn't buy the 993 Dream car until the 20-some thousand I bought Quantum became 200-some thousand. It was paid for. It was never the principal. It was never the earned income that paid for these things. So it was the dumbest thing I ever did, actually. But I only did it because I was playing with the funny money that the rent was producing. So I bought an M5. It was a lease. It was like $1,800 a month. It was just silly, honestly. I look back. But the initial investment was in the house, so I didn't actually use any of my own money. If that makes any sense. I mean, I was using my own money, but money that I didn't originally invest. I put the money in an appreciating asset, and I used the appreciating asset's drip to pay for the depreciating asset. So I know it's different a little bit with the Quantum because that popped off and then I just blew the money on the car. That was a little dumb move, to be honest. But what I'm getting at is it's the same theory. You don't use the original money that you initially invested. Use the drip from it, the cash flow it produces. Whether that's you selling shares or that's you taking a dividend or rental income or whatever it is. But if you really want to get dialed in, then you take the drip and you reinvest the drip. So what I was doing was I was getting rental income. I would take the rental income and I would buy dividend stocks with it. I don't have any rentals now. We sold them all in 2022. So I sold the homes for $330, about $330 each. I bought them from anywhere from like $105 to $175. One of them I actually lost money on. It was a condo that was like on an island near the beach. That one, I paid like almost $400,000 for it. It was a personal use one, and then I sold it for like $350. So that one I actually lost money on. So now, you know what one of my dreams my whole life was that I wanted to have a house by the beach, like a house like on a beach street in like a beach town on like an island. And then after these hurricanes and stuff in Florida hit and the insurance got so crazy, I started rethinking the whole dream. You know, is it a silly, dumb dream? But in some of the island towns around where we are, I don't really want to have a vacation rental. But what I'm getting at is, if I did want to have something that we could use and have as like a beach house, there is a possibility for it to have supplemental income or pay for itself in a way. Not fully, but in a way, if we rented it out somewhat. So that's one of the things I want. And I thought to myself, you know what? I might try to figure out how to get it. I might this, that, blah, blah, blah. And then I thought, no, dude, I had to slap myself in the face and remind myself, you don't get it unless the drip pays for it. Even if the thing's going to be producing income, but it's not going to be making money. If it's not making money, it's a liability. If it puts money in your pocket every month, it's an asset. So it's still going to be a liability after the pool guy, all the things, the property management, insurance, property taxes. This particular house, if we use it like half the time and rent it half the time, it's going to be a liability. So I told myself, dude, you're not doing it until you can figure out a way to pay for it either outright by some huge investment that you make and it takes off and you do really well and you can pay for it outright, or you can figure out a way to cover the mortgage payment with the drip from the current assets. That's hard, though, to do with in this certain scenario, because I would have to take away money from the thing that's giving me the drip for a down payment for this depreciating asset. I know a house is an appreciating asset, but if it's used by us and it's ultimately a liability every month, it's not putting money in our pocket, I'm going to look at it like it's not an asset. I feel like if you follow this simple strategy by investing the money first, and then you don't buy the thing that you're obsessing about or dreaming about until the drip from the investment covers the payment, whether that's you. This is why I always come back to cash flowing assets. I just like them because I can calculate these things. It's hard for me to wake up every day and understand how much I'm going to have in 6 months. Yes, it's boring. Yes, the principal is going to definitely underperform other assets like VGT and QQQ and things like that. But I don't care because I just want to focus on income. I could have backwards thinking, but that's what's good for me. That's what I like. So if you guys like that kind of stuff, or if you just like investing in general, follow the channel, dudes. Give me a subscription. I appreciate everybody watching, seriously. I was actually thinking about today making a video saying, guys, I'm done with YouTube because I'm kind of tired of just doing the videos, you know? See, this is what happens. There's like a bell curve. You get into something. It's like, dude, everything we do in life's like this. And even same with me, and I'll quit, you know? It's like you start off, you get a little momentum, everything's cool, it's fun, you're like, this is awesome, and then you don't get the results you want right away, and then you start to get discouraged, and you get kind of complacent, and then what happens is, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You let off the throttle, you don't really do it as much, because you're like, it doesn't really work that much, and then the world just shows you, yeah, it doesn't work, because, you know, you're not doing it anymore as much as you did, and then it doesn't work because you don't believe in it. So whenever I get to this like point in the bell curve where I'm like, I'm gonna quit, this isn't that great, this sucks, why am I doing this? That's when I told myself, oh, we gotta put the foot back on the throttle, I gotta post every day now, I gotta do a video every single day. It's almost like I'm just gonna go through the motions and not even care about the end result. I'm just going through the motions, and I gotta go back to, whenever I get complacent, you gotta go full throttle. This channel, I know it's called Daily Driven Porsche, and I've been driving the truck every day, but I'm getting the 992 back any day now. Wagon GTI. Oh, we got a Civic next to us. VTEC's popping off. I can hear it. Well, he's dripping back a little bit. He's probably like, why is this guy in the truck filming me? This guy's got the jet ski. Look, he's ready to hit the water. Dude, that's a nice setup. Maybe we ought to sell the car, get a jet ski. We can't. If the drip doesn't pay for it, we can't do it. We can't do any of these things if the drip doesn't pay for it. Right now, the drip doesn't even cover my regular bills. So I'm way behind. I got to get the drip to where it covers the regular bills. Because, see, I broke away from the rule a little bit. Actually, I did and I didn't. Because, it's confusing because I had the drip from the rentals, okay? At the time, my home was paid for, a different house. And I had the drip from the rentals covering the car payment and some other things. Then we sold all the rentals. And we sold the home we were living in that was paid for. I used some of that money to pay for the house that I have now. Which, from the time I bought it till now, because of the rate of inflation, this is one of the reasons I got it. At the time, I took on a lot of debt because I knew the debt was an asset in times of inflation. Before they start fighting the inflation, that's a good note to make. The home now is worth double what it was. So in a weird way, if I sold the home I have now, the drip did pay for everything and could cover everything. It's just that it's not dripping. It's just all locked in. That's what I was trying to explain, that if it's your primary residence or something like that, yes, it's an asset in the long term as far as appreciation of the home price, but monthly, it's a liability. It's taking money out of your pocket. We got to pay for things. We got to do landscaping, mow the lawn, fix a broken shelf. So that's why I like to keep it simple. I'm not playing these money games, funny money math that a lot of people do, where they're like, well, if I take this and I take this, sold this, and those are unrealized gains. I want, how much am I getting as a drip? And how long is it going to take if I reinvest this drip every single month, every single day, every single quarter, whenever the dividend's paid, quarterly, I reinvest this drip and the dividend grows. And I add to the pile. How long is it going to take? All we're doing is just making our river bigger. We're just building a river. A stream of cash flow. It seems very boring right now because I'm only getting like $40-some thousand a year. But it's not going to seem that boring when that $40,000 is $100,000 or $150,000 or $200,000. And for example, I have a trust set up. If I want, I could set it up in the trust that my kids are never allowed to sell the the stock. They can only take the drip. If I knew what's best for them, I could do something like that. You know what I mean? So they don't go in and just sell the stock and then blow the money or something. I don't think they do that because every day I'm educating my kids. They're driving around with me in the back seat and the front seat, listening to me talk about this stuff. They're watching me make mistakes, and I'm teaching them all the mistakes I made so they don't make the same ones. And if they do, that's life. It's good. You got to make your own mistakes. If you don't make your own mistakes, you probably will never learn anything. I like a quote. I don't even know if I made it up or I heard it. But you can't judge yesterday's mistakes with today's wisdom. Because that's what we do a lot. You know, we're like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I do this? Every adversity has an equal seat of opportunity. So it's like, now you know not to do it. That was the gift. But you never got the gift if you didn't make the mistake. I want you guys to know, just because I'm into SCHD or dividend investing or I like cash flow does not mean I don't like growth. I'm just saying that this is the strategy that I personally am chasing because I want to produce regular income. I know the benefit. I know the pros and cons of both. And I know the downside to the dividend investing, the tax drag, the lack of growth, the decrease in principal balance growth. But I don't care. This is what I've realized over the years. Psychologically keeps me invested, motivates me to buy more when the stock drops because the yield increases, and I can calculate future income. I can calculate, if the dividend growth rate doesn't change, I can calculate the date I'll have a certain number. Full disclosure, you guys know if you watch the channel for a while, I still hold a small portion of speculative single stocks. These are my gambles, and I also hold a Bitcoin. I sold all the altcoins. I'm just going Bitcoin, keeping things simple, dude. When I got things all messy, I don't stick to the plan. I'm all over the place. Just got to keep it nice and easy, nice and simple. I think Albert Einstein said, keep things as simple as possible, but not more simple. I still don't know what that means, but... So the rule today is, don't go buy the thing you want until your drip pays for it. Instead of taking the $100,000 and going out and buying this crazy thing, take the $100,000 and bank it. Put it into something that produces cash flow. Whether that's cash flow from stock price appreciation or dividends or rental income or small business. But don't buy it until the drip pays for it. If you do that, dude, your future self is going to thank you. I noticed if I just stuck with that, and every time I swayed from that is when I got into problems. That's when I got into the money problems where I thought, I don't know if I should have this. That's what gives you that feeling. But you do not have that feeling when the drip pays for it. I'll tell you that right now, you don't. Because you're not really paying for it. You are, depends on how you look at it, but you are paying for it, but it's different. It feels different. You're not trading your time for the money that pays for it. There's St. Petersburg, Florida over there. Recently, I've been looking online at vacant lots. So there's an area down in actually, I'm not dropping the name because they might get scooped up. I'm not dropping the name. But there's an area that I know of where there's a lot of vacant land. And this vacant land, a huge portion of it is zoned. It's zoned for mixed use, industrial, and I've only seen like 1 or 2 down there, but there's a lot of transportation, there's a lot of construction companies down here, there's a lot of building and things like that. So I just was trying to do the math on the lot, the price for the lot, and then the amount per spot in the lot to rent out, how many spots there are. So I found one. And I actually talked to a guy that was working at my house. He did pavers. And he was telling me that he pays $175 a month for one of his... And he rents... These are tractor trailer length spots. He pays $175 for one tractor trailer spot. And he puts like 3 small trailers in there and like a truck. And so I was trying to figure out the size of that and figure out the size of the lot. And then, it's really easy now. You just throw it in ChatGPT and say, like, this is the square footage of the lot. This is the dimensions of the lot. Factor in, like, a setback line and fence. And determine how many trailers that are this size can fit in this lot. And then take 175 times that number, minus your property taxes and insurance, and probably a general liability insurance policy, and see what the return is. And then I like to see, is that return worth it compared to SCHD? SCHD's return is weak. I'm not saying that SCHD's beating it. It's just that SCHD's dividend growth rate is what you need to look at. Like, okay, 5 years from now, well, what am I going to increase the rents to on these spots 5 years from now? Look at the dividend growth rate of SCHD. So, for example, like in the town that I was buying rentals, I just looked, brand new 4-bedroom homes, brand new. They're renting for $2,250 a month. You multiply $2,250 times 12, minus the 7 to 10% property tax. Property management, minus the property taxes, they're like $5K. Minus the insurance, it's like $3K. Minus like vacancy. I think I did like 0.5% for the vacancy. I can't remember. But what I'm getting at is it ends up being like a 4-point-something return. Like almost 5% return. And in 2 years, the SCHD is at that with the dividend growth rate. Or if the stock drops and I buy more shares while the yield's high, you can increase the yield on cost really quickly. That's what I like to do. That's, I feel like, the most powerful thing to get the yield up. Ferrari. So it's like, I don't know if I feel like having the hassle of having the rental. The one number I didn't factor in, that's what I was saying, I was doing funny money math, is I didn't factor in depreciation. If you depreciate the house, you can give yourself a little bit better return if you factor in that, the tax savings on the depreciation. But here's the thing. This is the kicker with this, is that when I'm giving you that number for the rate of return I found with the rental, the property was like $350,000, I think, for that same exact house that's being rented. But here's the kicker: there's like 40 of them for rent right now, so it's not even a guaranteed thing. For me, I just like the simplicity now. I just keep stacking SCHD. This is not financial advice, by the way. Just what I like. I found a lot of value. Like, what number do you put on simplicity and peace of mind? Because I put a big number on that. I think I'll give up 1% annual rate of return. If the difference is 1% from the rental to SCHD, I might say, I'm just going to go with SCHD. I'll give up the 1% difference for the peace of mind. That's my premium I got to pay to just have super simplistic lifestyle, focus on the business, what's really making the money, and I have something I can just keep putting the money into. But I don't want to constantly be arguing with you guys in the comments about you should be in growth, you should be in that. I know all the arguments. I like growth. I don't not like it. I know the argument of go in growth now and switch later. I get all that. My personality, I like investing for cash flow. I like planning. I like to have control. I like to know what it's going to be. I like to know how much money I'm going to have. I like to know at what date I think I'm going to be able to cover my bills with the money coming in. I like to know I don't have to sell shares and pay capital gains. I like to just pay my qualified dividend, long-term capital gains on the dividends. So I don't want you guys to think I'm trying to argue everyone to buy SCHD. I'm literally just sharing what I'm up to. But man, I want you guys to freaking share it with me. Let me know, like, what are you guys invested in and stuff. And if you guys have been watching this channel for a while, you guys know that I'm literally just trying to get the financial freedom with the same lifestyle I have right now, and at the same time just kind of share what I'm up to with you guys. I'm trying to build a community of people to keep myself motivated. It's almost one of the reasons why I have the channel. I just want to like post videos to share the progress that I'm making, to also inspire others to do the same thing, whether it's investing in something else or starting a business or whatever, just so we all stay consistent. So right now, I think I'm at like 40,000 shares of SCHD. I know back in some old videos I had 50,000 shares, but I decided that I wanted to have one Bitcoin, so I removed a little bit from there. But I have about 40,000 shares of SCHD. So if you guys want every video, I could show you my progress. I don't know if it keeps you guys motivated, if you guys are into investing, or if you don't really need to know every video, but let me know, because it's kind of fun to share it every video. I just like to stack one or two, you know, even if I get just 1 share, 5 shares, 10 shares. Little by little, it adds up.
All right. Woo. This is light work. Come on, spill the tea. Yeah. Ooh. All right. Woo. This is light.